So, what does 6 bottles of mustard have to do with my marriage? Well, this mustard moment revealed something about my relationship, my marriage, and my husband that has had a profound impact on me ever since throughout our years together. And what I wasn't expecting, what came unexpectedly in that revelation in hindsight, was something about myself that I found challenging to deal with, but it let me be aware of this sharper edge that I had and allowed me the spaciousness to smooth it out. So, story time. So, when I was pregnant with Sovereign, so my oldest daughter, I was really craving mustard on a lot of things. My big snack was taking a nori sheet, like the seaweed nori sheet, with some quinoa, some sliced cucumber, onions, yeah, mostly that. And I would just put some mustard on it, roll that sucker up, and eat it. It was like a little nori seaweed burrito situation. Somebody might be like, that's not a burrito, Imani. Fair enough. For me, that's what it was. And I was eating this constantly. And so I told my husband, I was like, okay, I need some mustard. Like, it's not my favorite condiment, but in general, but pregnancy. So I was like, yeah, I need some mustard. So he's like, I got you. I got you. So he comes back from the store with 6 bottles. And I was like, 6 bottles of mustard? I was like, wait a second. Why? First of all, why so many? And what are we gonna do with all of these? And you might be like, Imani, are you exaggerating? Was it really 6 bottles of mustard? Exhibit A. I took a picture because I laid it out on our carpet of our apartment at the time, and I took a picture because I was like, this has to be documented. I'm pretty sure at the time I also posted it, at least in my Instagram stories, with something along the lines of when you're pregnant, you ask your husband to get you some mustard. And he got all of these. But I was like, what are we gonna do with this? And I also was like, well, how much did you because I thought you would get 1 bottle of mustard. So in my head, I was like, well, how much did you spend on all of this mustard and all these different kinds of mustard? How much? Because we eat clean, so we were getting the organic stuff. You know what I mean? And that was a time when we were like shopping at Whole Foods and stuff. So I was like, this is 6 bottles of mustard. Like, what? I was just, it made me laugh at first. But then also, I was like, this seems like a lot. It seems unnecessary. And you may even agree with me. Like, that seems unnecessary. You might have been right there with me when I experienced this. And in his mind, he was like, well, now I don't know which one you want. You have different cravings for the spicy or the horseradish or honey mustard, or maybe you want a Dijon, and now you have options and you'll have plenty and you have whatever you need. And I'm like, okay. Like, part of me was happy because I did want the mustard, but another part was like, whoa, this is a lot. But here's the thing, his response just stuck with me, that you'll have plenty and you'll have what you need. And then my response was like, why we don't need this much? This is too much. How much you spend on this? For what? It seems wasteful. But the reality is that he was dealing in a state of abundance. In that moment, buying these 6 bottles of mustard. And something clicked that that's who this man is. He believes at his core that we're going to have enough, that we're going to be okay, that we can live in a state of abundance, and we'll have what we need and more. And I realized that that's his default, because that is not to say that when we have had moments of tightness, okay, when things were tight and a little scary, and we were like, oh, okay, we had to make some financial decisions that didn't feel good, that he wasn't feeling that he wasn't stressed, that it wasn't uncomfortable for him. However, comma, it was it was his default to feel like everything's going to be okay. Everything is going to be, we're going to have everything that we need. We're going to have enough. And it was my default to be like, no, we won't. What if we don't have enough? He's all, we're going to have enough. And I'm all, what if we don't have enough? And I realized that he was operating in an abundance mindset and I was operating in a scarcity mindset. And this has stuck with me. My daughter is 10. So this has stuck with me many years in our relationship, that I'm married to someone whose default, no matter how he was brought up, no matter the tightness that he saw, somehow the spirit of this man is one generosity. That I knew. That's one of the reasons that I fell in love with him, was his giving spirit, his giving heart, his desire to help. And it went beyond that. It was that. And also, I truly believe we're going to have what we need. We're going to have more than enough. It's going to be okay. Do the thing. And it makes so much sense, right? Because when I was starting my business and I wanted to invest in coaching, I was like, look, I need some direction in this. And it was one of the biggest investments that I was making in my business, because it was after the tail end of the first year that was rough. And he was like, yeah, you do it. You invest in your business. And I'm like, well, where is this 4-figure sum gonna come from for me to invest in this coaching for my business right now? Like, I want to do it. I just don't know how. And when I figured out how, I remember being nervous sharing it with him because I didn't know how he was going to react. At the time, we had 2 cars. He had a car, I had a car. I said, look, it's us and, one child. I'm going to sell my car so that I can pay for coaching. And do you know what he said? He said, okay, I'll put mine up for sale too. Whichever one sells first will use the funds to pay for your coaching. He was like, we're going to be all right. We're going to have it. Do the thing that you want to do. And that has been a pattern through our relationship. Go for what you want. Do what it is that you want to do. We can do this. I have contributed to that. And yet, and still, in the back of my mind, my default has been that fear and discomfort and that sense of scarcity. That's been my default. And that moment with those 6 mustards, I realized his default. And it was in hindsight that I realized mine. And the way that I saw it was the contrast. The way that I saw that I was living in lack was that he was living in abundance. And I did not have that perspective, and I did not have that understanding, and I didn't feel as confident as he did that it was going to be fine and we were going to have what we needed and more, especially when we've had seasons where it felt like we did not have that abundance, where it was uncomfortable. And in looking at him, I could see where I stood, and I was like, oh, this is not where I want to be. I want to be kind of where he is. I want to be more in that space. And the reality is that sometimes your loved ones, the ones that you love, will show you a different way to see the world and a different perspective, and they will open you up if you let it, if you're not combating against it. Because I could have been like, look, you on some rose colored glasses stuff. And the reality is this. Let's look at the real numbers of the situation. How much you spent on these mustards? Okay, we could have spent that on this. And his mind is like, it's coming back to us. And now you have plenty throughout your pregnancy and you have choices. That was the abundance. It wasn't just like you have exactly what you need, which would have probably been one, maybe, maybe two bottles of mustard. His mindset, the mind frame he was in was now you have choices. I mean, that's luxury. That's abundance. Not just in the mustards themselves, but in why he did that. Because I was utterly confused at the moment and taken aback. And sometimes the ones you love will show you a different way to see the world. That day, it was 6 bottles of mustard, but what it really was a lesson in abundance for me. And it allowed me to look to him because it wasn't like, oh, I realize I have this scarcity mindset. Let's turn that switch off. Click and done. Now everything's rosy for me too. This was a process for me. And sometimes the little voice still comes in, still a process, it's still a journey because that's not my default. I have to work on this actively, but I can look to him. I can look to his words of wisdom. I can look to his perspective. I can understand things differently through his lens. When that little voice starts talking to me, when I thought, hey, I've worked through this thing and it starts to come back up again, you know what I'm talking about. You're like, hey, we did this already. And yet, here we are again. That's life. Sometimes that happens. I can be in a state where I can lean on him to help me see, to give me the other side of the voice that's in the back of my mind, in the back of my head. And that is a beautiful thing. Sometimes we need that shift in perspective that our spouse is going to give us. For me, it was abundance mindset and scarcity mindset. And if we're open to it and we're not fighting against it, we get to grow. We get to learn. We get to experience something different. Because I had a little bit of that in me. It's in there, but he helps ignite it even more. And that moment, that memory, it was several years ago. And it has stuck with me ever since. It was really a really impactful moment, and I'm grateful that he was able in that moment to articulate why he did it, because I think I would have just laughed it off and be like, okay, whatever. But for him to be able to say, I'm doing this because you'll have plenty. You have more than enough, you have choices. Something clicked for me. Something hit. So, yeah, sometimes we've got to be open. We've got to listen to our loved ones. We have to listen with an open heart and open mind to their perspective. And we have to be willing to look at ourselves and say, okay, this is an area in which I should focus. This is an area in which I would like this to be different, and give ourselves the grace to grow. So, yeah, that's what I have for you today. That came up for me because I saw the photo. The photo came up and I was like, yeah, I remember that day when he bought those 6 mustards. And I wanted to share that all with you. So I hope that something resonated and I hope something landed with you that helps us create deeper relationship with self and understanding of self as well as our partners. And yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If something resonated with you that you want to share, please share it in the comments. I love to read it. I love to continue the conversation. If conversations like this are your vibe, please subscribe and just go on this journey with me. And if you don't know, that journey is 100 days of daily posting here on YouTube. Now, look, don't get overwhelmed. You don't have to watch every single one. Everyone's not going to be a hitter for you. You're not going to be drawn to everyone, but something in the menu is probably going to draw you in. Right? Something in the menu is probably going to hit for you. So if that sounds like a journey you want to take with me. I am moving through things in real time, transition, challenges, life, and sharing that with you. So come on to the journey with me if that's something that you're feeling. I would love to continue that conversation with you. Thank you so much for your time, your precious time that you spent with me today and having this conversation. And I'm going to see you tomorrow.